Hello and welcome back to another episode of AFL Unpopular Opinions. I am Ryan Cook, Tommy Rockcliffe, Alistair Lynch, and Feathers Jack Lindley joins me.
Got the hat off. Good on you. Yeah. Feeling good about yourself? Got the hat off for the first time in a month?
Look, I'm instant regret. Regret is strong here. I haven't been bullied so much. Actually, funny story. My mum used to be a school counsellor at a school called Emmanuel up on the sunny coast, and she started this thing called Dare to Care.
Yes.
And she reached out to a bunch of sports clubs, and Lee Matthews got back to her, like, well-known bully himself, but...
yeah, we'll back away from that one.
He said, yeah, we'll love to get involved. Which players do you want on? And, you know, Mum's like, oh, this Alistair Lynch is quite a handsome-looking bloke. We'll get him.
You take that?
Him on. So, big Lynchy, you've, mate, I'll have to dig up the footage, but you're basically apparently cross-armed, showing off the gun, saying, we hate bullies here at the Brisbane Lions and... Like that. So very...
oh, well, it's nice that I did that, but
that would have been back...
Keep it up with his last game.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, not good. So, all right, well, we retract that. You're looking well without your hat on.
Yeah, thanks. I'll report back to Mum.
No. Very good. What are we talking about?
We could get that photo along with the calendar. We can put that up on the wall here somewhere in the studio.
I wouldn't reckon.
What do you reckon?
Do you do calendars?
No, please. We were down the bottom, and I didn't have the best rig, so why would I wouldn't have done a calendar.
What about the photos that you've done that you look back in reflection and think, why wasn't there someone in the media department say you shouldn't be doing that?
Shouldn't do that. Yeah, we did a few of them.
We did a few of those.
Country one, a dog one. There's a few.
Yeah.
There's about 8 women held me one day.
8?
Yeah.
Is that all?
Well, it was something to do. I can't even remember what it was. It ended up on the front page, I think. They flew my mum up, and they were all holding me sideways. And I was like, probably not great on reflection.
Yeah.
But,
Any car commercials?
I never did a car one. No.
Okay. No. We can make that happen.
Well, luckily, like TikTok wasn't around when you guys were playing, and you get those dancers in the social. Like, I guess all the social teams at all these clubs make them do all these sorts of little trends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did you get into that, Lynchy?
No, I was as boring as batshit, straight. But yeah, you still get talked into like calendar shots sitting there in this. One, I was sitting there in the sauna with a towel on and resting my head on my arms with a massive flex going as hard as I could. It was so obvious. You just needed someone. That's where you need the missus.
That was unprompted though, or are they saying, come on, flex a bit harder for us, or you're just like, no, wait a minute.
To be fair, no, it wasn't overly prompted. I was trying to look as good as I could.
Oh,
yeah.
What was it pumping up? Viagra or something?
No,
women's Viagra.
I know. I did a calendar shot, and they flew me to Sydney for it, and I was in the ripped jeans coming through the surf. And I dropped for 100 push-ups and 100 dips before I did that one.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, you try to look after yourself. But, no, the sauna one was, you go, nah, pull up. No good.
How would you go with 100 push-ups, 100 dips these days? You'd get through them?
No.
No chance?
Oh, I reckon my shoulders would pop out.
You'd get through it. You'd find a way.
Yeah. I don't reckon I would. I don't reckon...
5 sets,
Well,
maybe.
you did the push-up challenge,
I reckon.
Could you do 100?
I couldn't do 100 straight, no. I'd have to do it over sets.
Hang on, you're hanging shit on me. I'm
No,
60.
I said you'd be able to do it with sets.
Oh, not sets.
Sets of 5 or 6, I reckon. 5 or 6 sets to
Give
get
him an
through
hour
100.
to get through them.
Not 5 or 6
What
reps,
was the most you were doing when you were challenged?
I could do 50, I reckon. But I did I did a circuit, so do other exercises.
Who was the best at the club?
Push-ups. Yeah. I remember Travis Johnson broke the record for chin-ups. He did 27 or 28, which was crazy. Amon Buchanan used to be good at it. But there used to be a record board at the Lions. It was always good because you always had, like, they stood for years and it was all the old players that you try and chase.
Just knock us off.
Yeah.
Who were the gym junkies? Like, I know Adelaide spend a lot of time in the gym and they're all about their size and power. Did you have guys that were just spent their whole day in the gym?
Steph Martin spent a lot of time in there.
He's big, man. Big unit.
Yeah, he would work all areas. Brownie was obviously in there. Charmo, the blokes that like to look at themselves. So Charmo, Brent Staker, those.
I'll tell you who was Mal Michael, how big he was.
Yeah.
He'd walk into the gym, put a weight belt around his guts, and just watch other people. He didn't have to do anything. He was just naturally massive. Brownie, so there's techniques for the youngsters out there in the gym. So when going for the bench press record, so what Brownie did is he put 4 or 5 T-shirts on.
A bit of extra padding. Yeah.
Cheeky. Down to chest, was it?
And get it up.
But bounced it off the chest.
Yeah,
so a bit of spring in it. So he did that. But no, the few of the boys are very keen on the gym.
I think he did 157.5.
Something like that, yeah.
From memory, Brownie.
Huge.
On the bench.
Yeah.
For one.
Jeez.
Well, what was the one? We'll check this. I think Jesse Williams, the NFL defensive tackle, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
Seattle played for, was on the injured list when they won the
briefly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Cup of coffee.
And he's
He's coming up with the...
He does his research, our man, doesn't he?
So he had cancer and I think a knee. But when he was at his college, I can't think of his college.
Arizona State.
Nah.
Alabama.
Yep. So he come out of a junior college. Came out of a junior college in Arizona, I reckon, to Alabama, and broke the record for bench press at the combine. Have you heard this before?
No.
So they don't do a max. They do 100 kilo max rep.
Yeah, okay.
What do you reckon? Give us a number.
Kilos.
100 kilos max rep.
Well,
I
we're
think he'd
just
be over
saying,
50.
yeah, if he's broken a record, I'd say 65.
Yeah, around that.
Yeah, okay. I think it was about 60. I think he broke the record of about 56 or something
That's
like that.
crazy.
So 100 kegs.
100 kegs.
60 times.
Yeah.
I reckon I did it once in my life.
100 kilos.
I did my shoulder, and I reckon before I did that, I got one up. That was it. I've never done 100 since.
That was enough for this lifetime.
And so you talk about these guys. So he's 6'4", 165 kegs.
Yeah. I can vouch that he's a powerful man because I played against him at the Bayside Ravens. He was on my team and I took a tackle from him when I was in high school.
Way.
Yeah, and I was about 55 kilos, rigging wet.
Oh,
he's a big unit.
The career path,
Yeah.
like what happened?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Very similar.
That's how Lynch got into gridiron.
Similar pay packets. Similar pay packets.
Yeah, 100%.
I tell you what, though, the start of the podcast shows how boring the footy was on the weekend.
We're talking about college football and bench press.
I don't want to get near
and
the
feathers.
AFL.
I sense a rant coming on.
Well, there is. We spoke about it just before we came on, but I've conceded that we're not going to get to 16 teams, even though we should be. But if we're going to increase, then what needs to change in the game? Because realistically, over the weekend, you could argue there was 2 games worth watching. Friday night footy. And Thursday night turned into a fizzer, which we probably didn't expect.
Disappointingly.
We thought that the Giants... We knew that the Dogs would probably win with the Giants outs that they had, but not the way they did. And then Saturday night, obviously, was a good game as well, Brisbane and Collingwood. Other than that, she was tough viewing.
You didn't like the game we did? Gold Coast, Richmond?
How we got through Gold Coast and Richmond is beyond me. We luckily we had Richard Champion in the box that just makes error after error and allowed us to...
Lee Matthews, Richard Champion. He waxed today.
We all made
Matthews
mistakes.
over
Yeah, no, Jackson.
Can you edit that
you
one
got
out,
whacked
Rich?
as well.
What did I get whacked for?
Nathan Brown got you yesterday on the Sunday footy show.
What did I do?
In mediocre about Fox Footy's new first name policy.
Oh, yeah.
So is that's a real thing?
No, I don't think so.
But everyone's going with first names instead of nicknames.
No, I think it's changed. Yeah. Go on.
Well, you got
Lynch
thrown and then you went to say a nickname and then you went first name and then you couldn't quite get out the name you were trying to get out.
Can you remember which one? Because I reckon there was a couple. Because I called Ben Dixon through to me and I called him Will.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, that one. Oh, no.
Thanks,
No, fair enough, Brownie. You've got to give me a clip. Because I was thinking... I was going to go Dicko and thought, shit, I can't go that. And
so that's a real thing.
Well, it's not.
And now it's being put.
No, it was the greatest marketing campaign of Fox Sports done for a long time. Because obviously we found out all Channel 7 commentators watch Fox to hear that we were doing this. But no, I think it's evolved. But yes, no, I deserve a whack for that one. Because I was thinking... I'm not sure of his name. Then, I just slaughtered it. And I was chatting to Will Ashcroft.
Yeah.
So, massive slaughter.
Got the wires crossed.
Oh, massive slaughter. but in defence of champs, we all do that.
Everyone makes it. But that game down there, like, that was hard to get through. Like, everyone, and I was only joking about champs, everyone makes mistakes. But that game, so to have a team kick their second goal with 1 minute to go.
Oh, yeah.
She's a tough watch. And the conditions weren't great, but
They weren't bad though.
They weren't that bad.
No, they were okay. So it was 17 degrees and a little bit of a breeze. That was about it.
A little bit of rain came in. But so you had first time since 96 that Richmond had gone goalless in a first half, and then the lowest score of all time at that ground. They equalled North Melbourne in 2020. Gold Coast Suns almost their biggest win, definitely their biggest win against Richmond. So there was records galore down there. But it got me thinking, well, if you're going to expand and you're going to go to 19 teams, which we're going to see Tasmania come in, maybe, touch wood, and then we'll see a 20th team. How do we get it so that we're like the cumulative eyeballs is the key thing to the TV rights deal? How do we keep eyes on for longer periods?
Are we, before you come up with your ideas, is this a one-off? Have we been sport for recent years? Because the recent years, I reckon we've spoke about it on this show about how good the season's been when there's been, right to the last round, there's been 13 or 14 or 12 teams in contention.
I would say that we've got a bigger gap, and we have for a number of years, from the bottom teams to the top teams.
Do you think that's something we're going to see moving forward? Because like Lynchy, you're saying this is a historically close year with the top 9, and then the top 9 are consistently beating the bottom 9.
Yeah.
So do you think we're going to see that moving forward? Or
I think so.
I
think with the list that I started to write and what we started to speak about, you're going to see it more if they don't make some changes now.
Yeah.
So. Yep. Players went about it and they wanted free agency, so we'll touch on free agency, but I think they've got to look at the draft. So the most compromised drafts we've ever seen now, with future tradings, father-sons, academy players, NGAs. How do they fix it? I'm not sure, because you look back and it used to be the worst team in the competition would get pick 1, pick 17 or pick 19 when there's 18 teams, and then one in the early 30s. Now, realistically, they may get pick 1, pick 30 before they get another crack at a kid, potentially.
But your pick 1 might slide to pick 3 because of bidding from other clubs. What I think they will do, because of those compromised drafts, and I think when Tassie assessed the under-15 state championships last year, it was assessed that of the top 15 kids, which will change over the next couple of years, obviously, but of the top 15 kids, 10 were compromised. So 10 were either NGAs, fathers, sons, or Northern Academies. So what I think might happen is, I reckon that round 1, the first round of the draft, will be protected. Okay. So uncompromised. So if I call you out and your father, son to Port Adelaide, too bad.
Yeah, right.
I think, they've got to have some integrity into it so that you can look after the bottom teams.
I think that's the one I would leave alone, the father, son, because I just would. I think it's a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling, like Sam Darcy playing for the Bulldogs. Like, I think you should nearly get them, which again compromises it, but it's hard for those bottom teams to find a way to get back up.
Can they find a way to that team if they really want to play for the Bulldogs after their rookie?
That's what I mean. So if you go and do your 2 years, let's just use Sam Darcy for instance. He gets drafted to Essendon, plays 2 years there, and then requests a trade straight away back to the Dogs because he wants to be there. That's where he wants to be. So I think the father-son, where academy is a little bit different.
But then in that case, Essendon would receive quite a substantial compensation if he is as good as he is.
Yeah. So I don't know the right balance, but I think they need to look at it. The draft age as well.
Yeah.
I would look at the draft age, actually increasing it to 20. So let them continue to build, or go to definitely a national reserves competition. So you can keep the draft age at 20, but go to a draft second tier competition.
Yeah, I think the second tier competition is a must, because whatever it's called now, the VFL competition, that's just a
debacle.
Yeah, it is. Like, you got pro clubs against local clubs, and it's not it's an unbalanced fixture as well. It's all over the place. I'd go. I think I've always thought that I'd go a year older, under 19s, but then you can access one 18-year-old, so that those kids that are capable and ready to go, you can get them still, but you can only have one.
Players that are ready to go. Yeah. There's kids that have stepped in that are ready to go at 18, 19. Well, they're 19 anyway, so they turn 19. Free agency, I think it nearly needs to go. The players were big on it, and I was probably big on it when I was part of the Players Association as well, but it's created an imbalance that we can't keep up with because of Geelong have done it perfectly. Hawthorn did it sensationally as well.
They won their 4 flags.
They recruited players in, and no one's going from a mid-tier team to a bottom team through the free agency, really.
No, and so I think there was a misconception when it came out that was the purpose of the free agency, but as you're saying, it was a Players Association driven thing that if you, because of the draft and the fact that players accept the draft, if you're at a club for 6-8 years, then you can take your pick and go somewhere. Yep. But what's happening is, you do your time at a bottom club. After 8 years, say, well, I want to go get a flag. Tom Lynch hung in there as long as anyone really at the Gold Coast Suns, but he'd done his time, goes to Richmond, picks up a flag. That's exactly
Prestia, Stephen May.
What the players wanted.
Yeah, it's what the players wanted, and I think there's too much in the players' hands. So we've got this imbalance of what we're seeing now. Everyone wants to go to Geelong for the lifestyle, and they continue to pick up great players, and that makes them even better. What have they missed finals once in 20 years, I think.
Enviable record, isn't it?
Yeah, like incredibly well done to them.
The players won't let that go, though.
Well, they're going to have to give something up because I think the product's diminishing, and I think what will happen is the TV rights deal next time will be less than what it is potentially now because of it, because the eyeballs aren't there. In my opinion, and maybe the stats don't back that up, but I reckon a lot of people are switching off a lot earlier, and you make your money through your adverts and you're keeping your eyeballs on the screens, on their advertisement. Soft cap increase, so get a lot of footy great minds back in. So it's obviously reduced, and you got a lot of smart players, ex-players, even teachers out there that don't get involved because the money's not there for them. So you've got great minds in the media that could potentially be at clubland and coaching and helping kids improve. There's no benefit to it.
A lot of those guys are probably getting better money, say at an assistant coach's level, which is a pathway you've got to go through before you can't just go straight from the media to be a head coach. So there's that reduction in pay, but also, as we know, the assistant coaches put in a lot of hours.
Enormous.
It's ridiculous the amount of hours they have to put in. So that's a balance.
Did you guys ever have that itch to go down the coaching route?
No.
A little bit. I thought I'd always would, and then once I finished, I was like, no, and the flexibility of not being involved in it, and you get paid. I'd say first year assistant coach out, whether development or assistant, I would say 100, 120 maybe, 80 maybe even. Like, it's not big money, which makes it tough if you can find something, people can make that going on a talking circuit.
Yeah, I mean, someone like you jump into at 150, I reckon, straight up. But no, it's not something I want to do. Want to jump in to something different.
You guys value your hair too much, don't you?
Yeah.
The King Goldman's over there. Exactly that wouldn't be hanging around if you were coaching, mate.
So that goes, so soft cap goes hand
You've been coaching, Feather, haven't you? Sorry. We should.
I said it.
We'll make up.
So soft cap obviously goes in hand in hand with player development. So you got more time, you got more coaches, more hand on hand. They develop the skills at a more rapid rate. Games per season. So do we need less games per season?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
For some reason, I reckon we're seeing more injuries, or it feels like it. Or a lot more dead rubbers this time of year, where if you don't have the 20, if you've got, say 17 is a sweet number because you play once. So when we get to 20 teams, you play 19 games. Every game's on the line. And you've got to win. You're going to have to win 11 or 12 to play finals.
And that's another one. You wouldn't imagine they're going back.
No, well,
but something has to be done, though. You're right. Around July, early August, those dead rubbers, and that's where they're thinking, where the rugby, and they get that's compounded by the fact that rugby league got State of Origin, so there's massive viewership watching Origin. So the AFL and clubs are looking at, well, what can we do here? They talk about this in-season tournament, which I just don't think will work, because there'll be clubs pulling players out that we used to have years ago, in-season midweek comp, which then went to pre-season comp, which evolved over time. But they used to be a national competition midweek. But yeah, I don't know whether they can do that. It's a tough one.
Yeah, so they've got to find something. So these are just ideas. List sizes, I think, probably increase, maybe. National reserves comp. So we spoke about that before. So with the national reserves, you probably need to increase your list because of the injury factor. Although we're around 50 now, so 50 is probably enough, but you should be able to supplement somewhere.
Just makes sense if they're throwing these first round draft picks straight into the mix in their first year, and we're seeing these horrific injuries.
Yeah.
Their bodies just aren't ready for it.
And that's the thing where they can make up money, is by playing a national reserves comp, and you get people through the gates, but you also televise it. Yeah. Because then you got the combination. I know that the production cost is obviously there, but if you have, I think if you
as curtain raisers,
as curtain raisers, so they're there. Everything's already set up. Just play it, or even if it's a live stream on AFL.com, which they do a lot anyway. Get your viewership through there. More eyeballs on the sport. You can watch if your team's not competing in senior level. At least you can see the kids coming through.
I think that also makes the whole draft more exciting, because you are getting to experience these players more before
it's
the
like
draft night.
Lynchy's beloved college football.
Yeah.
You get to see those players.
Exactly.
Come through. Yeah.
So there's excitement around, who's going to win the Heisman Trophy this year? Who's going to be the best rookie? And how high are they going to go in the draft?
Yeah. So I think there's a way to maybe get some more money back. I would bring in mid-season trading.
I was about to ask, because I feel like that's a way to make things exciting.
Yeah. So keep the trade window open until, say, around whatever time. 16. Throw a dart at the wall. If you're a top team and you're on the fringe, or you're the 38th player on the list, and you'd be playing as a walk-up start in the midfield somewhere else, I think you should be able to go and do that.
Yep.
Rule changes potentially. I think that there's a lot of fans not happy with some of the rules and the way they're adjudicated. Ruck, the centre bounce.
Yeah. Well, I think we saw on the weekend from our Gold Coast Richmond game with the umpire getting cleaned up to start with, which we don't want to see. I'm surprised we don't see more of that, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd get rid of the bounce, because, as we've spoken about, it gets a greater pool of talent into the game, so they don't have to worry about bouncing it. I'd have the ruckman back on the line, so from a particular starting point, so once it's thrown up, it is a jump rather than, so much of the ruck work is we come and stand shoulder to shoulder, and they throw it up and we just wrestle.
Yeah.
And so I think change that. So there's a number of things.
I'd get rid of the ruck nominate rule. I'd just throw it up.
Yeah, throw it up straight away.
Make it quicker, get things going. Full-time umpires, which Lynchy talked on. Shorter quarters is potentially one I would look at. Yeah. So you think through COVID, you didn't have the blowouts, but again, smaller sample size, so you'd have to look at it. But you could potentially do 17.5-minute quarters. I think because of society and the way we've gone with social media, our attention span's so bad.
Young blokes.
Well, we are. We're all on our phones, and it's like next video. Yeah. So our attention span's not there.
I think with that, sometimes it feels like the first couple of quarters are meaningless. It's a bit like that when you watch the NBA.
Yeah.
You can stay out of an NBA game until the fourth quarter, and even if a team's up by 30 points, there's still a chance the team that's losing is going to come back. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would look at that. I would do max 5-year contracts instead of having 10, 12 years, because then you lock them
though?
To protect all elements of it. So
protect clubs from themselves.
Well, yeah, Clayton Oliver, for
that's their fault.
Yeah, I agree, but I would limit the contract length, because then you can then rejig your list and rejuvenate it a lot quicker. So you're not locked into these long-term deals.
Yeah.
For Melbourne, for instance, they got Petrarca locked away. They've got Oliver, but they may want to quickly rebuild because Tasmania are coming in and the compromised draft. So I would go to a locked 5 years. And also Jack's idea of 20% outside the cap for the talent that you draft.
Yeah.
So there's some ideas.
Well, that way, St Kilda could keep Naz on board, offer him that 20% bump.
That's outside the salary cap.
That's outside.
Yeah. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Which covers the big counter offer coming from Port or Adelaide. So, no, I like that one. I think that's a good one to help retain and draft talent, but retain that talent. I think it's really important.
Anything I didn't cover?
I would think, we spoke about, did we speak last week about West Coast Eagles looking for assistance?
Yeah, draft
assistance.
Yeah.
And so I would think if I was the AFL, I'd be going to them saying, well, no, you're the richest club in the comp.
No, I've got Tasmania coming on board.
Well, to back up his point, they brought in Tim Kelly, who I think they gave up maybe two draft in the first and then one the next year, so 3 first rounders. They brought in Liam Baker with a first rounder, so they've traded out all their first rounders, so you can't have it both ways.
Liam Baker's been all right, but maybe just ban teams from trading with Geelong, full stop. That might help.
Yeah, investigate Geelong more. And maybe Brisbane.
Well, the problem Jack Bowes, wasn't it?
Well, yeah.
The Gold Coast traded Jack Bowes to Geelong and gave him a first-round draft pick. Hang on, what's going on there? But what I'd be saying to the West Coast is, one, if I was a St Kilda supporter, I'd be saying, hang on, you won a flag in 2017.
Yeah.
Did 1966 ring a bell? So I would think they would deserve some compensation or some assistance. But also, they're the richest club in the competition. They've got half the state of Western Australia to tap into or develop NGAs, so next generation academy players, which are Aboriginal or Torres Strait Island background kids, and also those kids that have multicultural heritage. So you've got one parent, either you were born overseas or you've got one parent that was born in Africa, Asia or Oceania, or you're from a non-speaking background. I'd be going out to that. There's a big expat South African community in Perth. I'd be going to that community, pumping a heap of money in to get those athletes through. So I'd be saying, before you come and ask for draft picks from us, why don't you pump money into developing this pool? We're talking about the talent pool is probably thinned out. It's stretched with the extra clubs coming in as well. So just grow this talent pool. And the great opportunity for West Coast, I would have thought there, and all clubs with the NGA vehicle, whilst it's there. And
sounds like you want to genetically engineer a few players over there.
Start to marry up mum and dad.
Yeah. You want to play God, don't you?
And one's got to be born overseas.
I think that's important though with the Perth Bears coming in rugby league as well over there. That's the talent pool.
Yeah, those South African guys.
Yeah, exactly.
They might dig into those.
It's stretched. I think you'd have to look at the numbers, because I reckon Queensland and New South Wales have got more players getting recruited and drafted now. I reckon WA and SA have dropped away. It's a good point. Pump money back into the local levels and build the development.
Sorry, why don't we limit former players to having one son?
The Chinese sort of operation, just one
got
kid.
Brisbane got the two brothers. Collingwood got the two brothers. But is it like, are we seeing like a rich vein of father-son picks? Is this an anomaly, so to speak?
Well, I think so.
There's been so many good ones recently.
History would say that though. Like going back previously to that, and you're probably going to forget some, but like Libba, these 4 that you're talking about are potentially going to be 4 or 5, with Darcy. Probably 5 of the best players in the competition, which is unheard of.
Well, Junior? 6 as well, though. Fletcher.
Yeah, well, Fletcher as well. Yeah.
Good one.
So Brisbane have been gifted. But you look back, and Junior was clearly the best player in the comp, so father-son. Hawkins was up there. Libba. But they haven't been...
Stephen Silvani? Not that he was acquired by a father-son.
But they're few and far between, I think.
Yeah.
Like genuine superstars of the comp. Like you'll see father-sons come in and have an impact, but not to the level that we're seeing these 6 that have come in. I think it's just one of those things.
And is it one of those things that now it's a free hit, so are clubs putting more time into those father-sons? I know clubs or a number of clubs will start almost engaging those kids, daughters and sons of legends or former players.
I think Brisbane's
to keep them engaged.
done that with Hodgie, haven't they? Brisbane and Hawthorn
via the academy, But I suppose it's sort of Hawthorn with the father-son, Brisbane with the academy. But I think like clubs and maybe it hasn't panned out this way for North Melbourne, but North Melbourne and I think the Sydney Swans, from almost birth, you get in cards, you're engaged, so you feel part of it. And I know from a Tassie Devils point of view is you want to grow your supporter base, but also that talent pool, but engage kids of former legends straight away. So get them engaged so that Nick Blakey feels like you'd rather play for the Brisbane Lions or North Melbourne rather than his academy club being the Sydney Swans. So, I mean, engage them is really important.
I think it's an anomaly.
Yeah,
they're so good. Father Sons.
But there is a few, isn't there?
Yeah, and St Kilda will get a run at it. I think they've got 5. Like Rewalt's got 2 or 3. Lenny Hayes, maybe Goddard, Montagna. There's a lot of so they will get a run at it.
Goddard,
but
the Dons will take the Goddard one. Thanks.
The talk is over the last week or so, the AFL might sack the father-son rule. How filthy would St Kilda be if they got 4 or 5 coming through?
It'd be on brand.
Well, they are.
Can they draft some 12-year-olds? Quickly.
Just get them under the boots. Yeah, no, that would be filthy. These kids get to 14, the AFL comes out, we sack father son. I
think Ross might have something to say about that if it happens.
But so there's a few things that we can look at to change if we're going to increase, to make it more even.
What about starting the season a little bit later? Is that another one you'd consider?
Well, season.
Well, they've gone the other way though, haven't they?
They're trying to take on the NRL because the NRL plays 26 and does the Vegas. But back to I would probably reduce the amount of games. I'd go to, if you go to 20, you've got 19 games. Play each other once. It's the most even fixture you can get instead of compromised fixtures. That's probably one to look at. But also have the National Reserves comp, so you're still getting your footy fix.
It's a good list. We'll have to clip that up. I think the commenters will have to have a few things to say about it.
Well, the punters will come for me.
They will. They always do.
Often reminded that
how many concussions did you have?
Early CTE.
Do you know how many concussions you had?
I had a couple, but I don't think I'm too bad.
Well, let the commenters.
They can go.
They know everything.
They know the numbers.
Let's talk about some more present day issues. The Crows, the enviable team that has built their list quite successfully, looking like a top 4 lock, and their win against the Hawks on Friday night was massive. They do look like a premiership threat, and that forward line is just humming at the moment. And then on the other side of the coin, the Hawks look like they're almost destined to miss out on finals. Will Day done with another foot injury, very disappointing. Are you guys ready to ride off the Hawks?
I think, did we both write them off a couple of weeks ago? Yeah. I think they're a good side, just where they got themselves.
It's a massive game.
You two rode off the Hawks and we rode
last
off,
week.
We rode off the Dogs.
No, rightio.
Yeah. So but then the Dogs come out and win by 90 points.
I think the Hawks are going to struggle. Will Day's a huge injury issue. I mean, and there was debate, did they bring him back too early? No, he had to give it a go. And if he ticked all the boxes and the fitness teams and medical staff are very conservative at AFL level. So they would have ticked every box. It's just another freak accident, which is a concern for him moving forward. But, I mean, back to Adelaide, they look good because they haven't got that powerful midfield, powerful forward line, and this underrated defence that's probably been more rated over the last 6 weeks, but they keep doing the job down
back.
Best
defence in the comp, I think.
Yeah, their defence was the question mark going into the season. Everyone was like, that's what's going to hold them back. But everyone talks about, they've jumped from 15th to 1st. But 15th, they won 8 games last year. So they weren't a terrible 15th team. And they lost a couple going back by a couple of points.
Yeah. There was a few controversial
score
reviews.
So I think you could always see that they were going to improve. Maybe not this rapidly, but they are sort of complete. But I'm not sold on them yet until if they beat Collingwood next week, I think they've got Collingwood. That's a big game.
So that's for the minor premiership.
Potentially, Brisbane is still a sneaky chance. They're half a game behind.
Yeah,
but I think if they get that done, then they're hard to stop. Home finals at Adelaide Oval, powerful forwards. One of the potentially all Australian captain in their team.
Dawson, absolutely.
He's
a star.
Who's in contention for all Australian captaincy then?
I think Noah Anderson is. I think Jordan Dawson is. I think
Dacos.
Who?
Dacos.
Yeah.
Bontempelli.
Bailey Smith.
Sarong.
I think he could be.
What, all Australian captain?
Yeah. He's had a great year.
Do you have to be a captain of the?
No, well, you don't have to be.
You can
but
name
I think,
whoever you want.
Didn't Buddy Franklin?
Franklin
was captain, but I think
All-Australian.
that's more an accumulative thing that if you're half a dozen All-Australians, then they might elevate you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know
Max
what
Gorn.
odds you do on this.
Well, here you go.
You're not allowed to
podcast.
talk about odds. Luke.
No, but I can talk about this. I'd be very interested in the odds. They'd be long for Bailey Smith to be All-Australian captain.
Well, depending on which ruckman you go, who's your All-Australian ruckman?
Grundy's
Grundy.
been
Yeah.
Well, Grundy, what do you have a record disposal?
39 on the list.
Yeah. And I've
And he
seen
didn't
him
get the
live
hand
about.
pass back in the last minute for the 40.
Yeah.
They did him dirty.
He's back to his 2017-18 All-Australian or whenever it was.
So, the last 8 games, he's got 65 coaches' votes.
And I reckon in the player rankings that we get through Champion Data, I think he's been out of the top 4 once, and he was 6th on that occasion. So, yeah, he's
So you
right
rip
up
it
there.
off, Max? Because everyone says that it's Max's to lose, which I don't agree with, because you should be picking the All-Australian on the 24 games that you play.
Yeah.
I think, well, put it this way. So if you're picking your team off the wall with current form, who do you pick? Now, I would have, in the conversation, I'd have Witts, Grundy.
Yeah, wit.
Witts, Grundy and Gawn are probably the ones. And if I'm thinking we're playing this
Sherry?
weekend... Oh yeah, but I don't think so. Not for me. So if someone's playing for me this weekend,
Yeah.
it's hard to go past Gorney.
See, I would nearly take wit.
I think I'd go Grundy there in that situation. It's like, that's how close it is.
So that's where it is, and I think we were chatting about it in the game last week, and then Dimmer come out post game and said, "Why does everyone underrate Wits?" I think from a commentary point of view, when we see it all the time, and this is another argument for changes to go to the AFL, and we spoke about this 2 or 3 weeks ago. You got to have a Queensland selector on the All-Australian panel because you tend to be weighted towards the person that you see a lot, and Witts is certainly in that conversation. And I think Dimmer's onto that as well. He's onto flying the flag for where's our selector, where's our Queensland selector.
So you didn't have any phone calls last week after I clipped that up?
I'm
Put your name out there, mate.
Because I think also there's another player at the Gold Coast that will not be talked about that should be, is Long, as a potential All-Australian forward pocket. Defensively, he's outstanding. You would not want to get tackled or hit by him.
Jeez, a couple of them hit hard, don't they?
Farah.
I reckon very it's hard.
But he's kicked 34 goals or 36 goals this year as well.
So there was that. The only thing, like his first 10 weeks, he was All-Australian.
Yeah.
And then maybe he had a 4 or 5 week period in the middle where it just sort of went off the boil a little bit. But yeah, I reckon he's well and truly in the conversation.
I don't think anyone's going to talk about him. I haven't seen him in any Melbourne or All-Australian forecast, but he should be definitely in the squad and potentially in the team. If you're picking as a small pressure forward that hits hard, that can mark, that kicks goals, he's got to be in there.
Yeah.
Well, he's got that probably extra string to his bow compared to most because he does lead and mark the ball well. He's a better defensive version, but not as high a marking as Jamie Elliott, probably.
Yeah.
Elliott sits on top of packs, probably doesn't have the defensive actions as Ben, but it's a good point, definitely.
Let's also look at Saturday night, Brisbane and Collingwood. The Lions look every bit as deadly as they did a year ago. Logan Morris doing special things. Henry Smith as well.
Henry Smith.
Well, we got to talk about Smithy.
Boy.
Give me your thoughts on the Lions, gentlemen. Are you confident now?
Well, not confident because there's two up and down still for me. But I think they're the team to beat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like their best is better than anyone's in the comp, but whether they can do it for longer periods. So I think Rayner quiet and then comes good in the second half.
Zach Bailey as well.
Zach Bailey was quiet, got going.
But it's almost classic Bailey and Rayner, isn't it?
Yeah.
They just jump in for 10 or 15 minutes
It's
and
classic
rip the
Brisbane.
game.
rip the game to pieces and Collingwood go, oh shit, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
Logan Morris, I think too. I think they got him. They've paid him unders again. I said a couple of weeks ago, maybe on this one or maybe another podcast to do that. I think he'll be the number one key forward in the comp by the end of the decade. He's gonna have a hold on it before, and he's got competition with Darcy and a few others, but he just kicks bags for fun at the moment.
He seems so unflustered. And he'll take the
smiles.
mark, have a little giggle, and then slot the
This goes back, and so he's kicked bags of 5, 5, 6 in the last sort of 6 weeks. He's been outstanding. So Brisbane are going to be hard to beat. They complement each other really well. Obviously, Oscar McInerney gets rested. What do they do with their ruckman now? Fort's a premiership ruckman. Smith kicks goals and can ruck. So they're really lucky with what the talent they've got, and who's going to stop them?
Yeah, so I didn't tip, obviously, Brisbane to beat Collingwood. I thought
that's blasphemy. Tipping against your team.
Ooh.
No,
what is going on?
Well, it was recency bias of their poor game against the Suns. I thought they were horrible there.
Yeah.
But still, I've got them firmly as the flag favourites.
Are we overrating Collingwood, though? Because are they out of form?
Yeah.
Oh, they're out of form.
Because they've lost 3 of their last 4, and
The Hawks
Craig
are a
McRae.
sniff this weekend, I reckon.
Yeah, Craig McRae gets up and says, "Oh, that's the worst game we've played since the opening round." But I reckon it's a bit of a flick. I don't think they're going as well potentially as everyone thought they were.
But has this got a waft of last year in the Sydney Swans?
Maybe.
Games ahead 2/3 of the way through the season, but then when that motivation, that edge just drops off a bit.
Stumble.
Yeah, just sort of. And that's what happens. You play against good sides and you're off a little bit, you're going to get rolled.
Yeah,
so, no, they're not playing as well, anywhere near as well.
I've heard whispers that they've had a tough training block over the last 2 weeks, and the last few games they've just been cooked.
And that's the other thing. So the Adelaide Crows used to do that back in the late 90s, early 2000s. They would set up their season, be really strong, and then they'd have a massive training block on the focus of finals, form drop away for a month, and then springboard for the right time of year. So potentially Collingwood have done that. They've gone identified where we've got a couple of games up our sleeve. Let's get the training in now so that we can really hone in on what we need to specifically for the last six weeks.
But it's so congested at the moment. They could drop out of the 4 and then...
Drop out of the 4 and do it the hard way.
But as we've seen, though, if you get your last month right, you'll be right. And they're sticking to their plan, like De Goey subbed out.
Yeah.
So that's a clear indication they've got a plan, get him out of the game. Jeremy Howe, I mean, it's been reinforced over the last couple of weeks how important he is to support Darcy Moore. I mean, not only Logan Morris has kicked 6, but Patrick Voss kicked 6 the week before against Collingwood. So I reckon Jeremy Howe is being just looked after. I mean, he's got to come back from injury. Not sure what the injury is, but he'll come back in. So, but I think they're very structured and stuck to the De Goey plan.
And Frampton's potentially one. So on Collingwood and their defence, are we comfortable with Craig McRae coming out and saying he went on a first date with Silvani and had a coffee? As an industry, I am. I think it happens. It happens behind closed doors all the time.
I appreciate the honesty because, like you said, that used to be like a no-no. You don't talk about that stuff.
No, I'm a bit more in Vossi's camp, where let's say, we do it and we're meeting with players on a regular basis, but it does put a little bit of pressure on Oscar Allen and Jack Silvani to go back into the club when another coach has actually openly talked about, I met with him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that puts pressure on him. But it happens all the time. It's been happening for.
Well, you were a player manager. How often did it? Well, how often did it happen? It happened all the time.
Well, it happens all the time. Yeah. I remember. Well, when I was at Fitzroy, now I ended up leaving, but I met with the Bulldogs. I met with Ken Sheldon at St Kilda and Peter Hudson down there. We met when Peter Hudson was CEO of Hawthorn. Met with him. Met Ron Barassi with the Sydney Swans.
That's a lot of coffees you reckon.
They were light beers back in those days. Well, there's no such thing as a light beer back in those days. So I met with Ron Barassi. It happens. And before you make a move, you've got to actually go and speak to the coach. And it's going to happen that it's in season. Yeah, I wouldn't have listed his name or clarified.
Publicly done it?
Yeah, it wouldn't publicly have said, yes, I met with him. I would have probably just said, yes, we meet with players all the time. I'm not going to go into individual details, but rest assured that everyone does it, but I'm not going to speak about any one player.
When you went and met those guys back in your day, were you informing your club?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. And I met the recruiting manager for the Brisbane Bears, Scott Clayton. That was during the season. And And it probably helped me because I got reported for headbutting Scott McIver of the Brisbane Bears because I was speaking to the Bears. They got me off. That was handy.
We were trying to hug.
That's right.
I was trying to celebrate with you.
Yeah,
your teammate accidentally headbutted him.
Anger issues. But yeah, I
Bit of
think
white line fever.
Yeah, I don't know. It must have been post-season when I met with Robert Walls, though, I would have thought. I wouldn't have come up to the club.
So to go back, I think it was last week when we were speaking about Lynchy, Sledge and Foggs. Foggs was probably right because he plays with white line fever on the cricket field.
That's how you got that finger injury. Is he's just come down on your hard on the bench here.
He gets wound
Don't
up.
bring
Big
that
Lynchy.
last game up.
Don't say interstate clubs.
That's right. Cricket, you don't get too fired up at cricket. Occasionally.
Foggs is a delicate customer. We'll put that on record.
I did give some. We'll point out it. This is like C grade sub district cricket.
Well, that's a few levels above Foggs.
So this is like 9th grade, and this guy in his mid-20s, he hooked me and put me into the creek in the neighbouring suburb, and I gave him half a cook. And he was shattered. He said, "Oh, you were my favourite player." And I go, "Oh, Jesus." Disappointing. So I had to pull my head in after that. But
signed a few autographs to make it up to him.
Yeah.
Got the book out of the boot.
Yeah.
Here's the calendar.
Yeah. You can't give that away. It's bloody important.
I love the book. The book chat's great.
Oh, no good, the book. That's embarrassing. If it wasn't for my daughter in tears, I wouldn't have brought the book out. The dog was gone.
Yeah, we need to get you to retell that story for Jack. He wasn't here for
heard
that
it.
one. It's a great one.
No good.
Boys, we're almost out of here. Before we leave, though, who's been the most disappointing team, do you think, this year out of the ones that had expectations? So put aside Richmond and West Coast, the Melbournes, the Carltons, the Sydneys. We've got 4 weeks to go. Who's let you down the most?
Can I go, of the teams in the bottom 9, the team I enjoyed the most, even though they were boring, but they're done on the weekend, Richmond.
Yeah, okay.
They've been encouraging. They've won more games than a lot of people thought.
Yeah.
And they've got, so the last 2 weeks, they've had 3 listed players playing in their 2s. That's how decimated their club is. So that's the positive. You've got to go Port Adelaide, don't you?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Port Adelaide finished, at the end of the home and away season last year, they finished 2nd. So, yeah, I think they've just had a mare when this handover process.
To that point as well, I think there was a stat yesterday that in Ken's tenure, his 4 biggest losses have come this year. So they've had 90, I think 3 in the 90s and 1 high 80s. So his 4 biggest losses have been this year.
And he just doesn't seem to care that much either.
Well, he's checked out now. Once he put the lolly chompers in against the Brisbane Lions. So I'd have them, but they've butchered it. They've got a big payout, whether it was a back-ended deal or whatever, so $1 million. They thought if they're paying $1 million to someone, you're going to be sitting in the chair still. Bad move. So Port Adelaide, who else?
Well, it's down to the 5 that are sitting there. So that if the Dogs miss, you could put them in there. Yep. Sydney, obviously, grand finalists. They're going to miss finals. Port, Melbourne and Carlton.
Yeah.
So, one of those 5, probably Sydney or Port, considering one went to a grand final, one went to a prelim. Well, they played each other in a prelim.
And we did speak about this early. So those 2 teams finished 1 and 2 at the end of the home and away season. Both coaches are gone.
Yeah.
They finished 1 and 2 last year. It's quite incredible. So I reckon Sydney have got some reasons. They wouldn't use them as excuses, but there's reasons with those early injuries. Port Adelaide slaughtered it. Carlton, they're disappointing, but they had some injuries too, which has knocked them around. So
Melbourne have been horrific as well.
Well, Melbourne, they'd be spewing, wouldn't they? Because Clayton Oliver was on the table to be traded to Geelong, and they said no. Melbourne said no. So, and you're probably going to struggle to move him now.
Yeah, and they got the same problem coming up with Petrarca potentially.
Yeah.
Do they get that? Have they learned from the Oliver mistake?
Well, they're going to have to, aren't they?
You've got to.
They've got to rejuvenate their list. So, yeah, those 3, I think, are the clear standout. Disappointing.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they're at a different level, but North Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For 6 years, they've been 17th or 18th. and so they haven't moved.
They had a good 5 or 6 weeks where they had a draw against Brisbane and lost a couple but yeah.
Yes. You don't want to throw the Bombers in here, Jack, before we get out?
Well, Essendon have to be in there.
Yeah.
But injury related.
But injuries.
Everyone in that bottom 9 are in there. Apart from Richmond, I think they've actually progressed. Everyone else has kind of stagnated or gone backwards, in my opinion.
Well, West Coast.
Yeah,
but West Coast. You couldn't see West Coast actually getting off the bottom of the ladder next year.
No.
Who are they going to beat?
They got a whole reset coming up, I think. West Coast.
They are.
I reckon if Tassie came in the comp next year, you'd nearly tip Tassie to beat them.
Yeah.
Well, only because this might get clipped up. I'm not going to say anything. When they might beat us by 50 points, 100 points.
I think you can throw Hawthorn in there too, because they were, I think, second in the premiership market before the season
Well,
began.
if Hawthorn miss as well. So it's dependent on who misses.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to throw the AFL in there. That's most disappointing. Well, they've set themselves up to have an absolute horrific week before with Gold Coast taking on Essendon.
Yeah.
Gold Coast potentially play their VFL team if there's nothing on the line, but it compromises potentially a Noah Anderson or Matty Rao going close to a Brownlow. If they have to win and jump into the top 4, say, or jump into the top 6 so they get a home final, they play their best team. What happens if Jared Witts gets knocked out, Collins gets knocked out, or Real or Anderson? They miss the first final because of the scheduling. So I think the AFL's had an absolute hour. And what team are Essendon going to send up? They're going to send everyone for surgery.
Jack's getting the call up for that one.
We only have 16 players left to send.
Yeah, so they're going to play a team. They may have to get COVID supplement players in, when West Coast has to get
Introduce them to the coach
just
before
bring
you
them in and roll them out. So
we might have to do a Ben Stokes handshake. Take the draw if you want it.
Oh, geez.
So if you were going to coach, so the offer came straight head coach for the bottom. So the bottom 9 teams. No, we'll take Sydney Swans out because they're better on that. So you got Port, Melbourne, Carlton, St Kilda, Essendon, Richmond, North Melbourne, West Coast. You got 1 year to coach.
1 year.
You're only coaching 1 year.
He's not getting paid enough to do it, mate.
One year.
All right, no, that's wrong.
No, 1 year. I would take Melbourne. Because I think they're ready-made. I think they've still got potentially an All-Australian ruckman. You've still got Petrarch. You've still got Oliver. You've still got Stephen Mate. You've still got enough cogs there. You've got Lever. You just have to bring in a really strong key forward.
Yep.
I think there's enough there for Melbourne to jump.
All right. So what if you were getting a 6-year head coach offer? One of those clubs, who'd you pick then?
Well, with the compromised drafts and what Port Adelaide's got coming, if you haven't seen, they've got a few father-sons coming. And
Salopek's in there.
Salopek, Roden, Cochrane is part of the NGA, who they reckon is a pick 1 of next year's draft.
Yeah.
And that if you keep Butters, Rosie, Horn Francis, get Wanganeen Millerer, Port Adelaide.
Port Adelaide. So we'll get
That's
Josh Carter to 12 months handover.
Well, yeah.
All right, so you do that. If I'm getting a 6-year gig, not that I want to take over his job because your mob, Essendon.
Nice.
Interesting.
I'd love to be part of Essendon. Love to get
Richmond?
that. Oh, they're encouraging as well.
Richmond
But
got some good picks.
imagine just getting Essendon up.
Oh, yeah.
Or you could have another 6 years of nothing.
6 years of nothing.
You love a challenge, Lynchy.
They've had 21 and nothing. What's another 6?
I guess the expectations aren't that high either, so...
You still got the pressure, though, of coaching Essendon. That's always going to be there.
That's why if you're going to put your hat in the ring, or same as when you're an athlete, you want the pressure. There was years we both played where there wasn't a lot of pressure. There was pride in your own performance, but you're not playing finals and that sort of stuff. You want the big crowd, the attention that this could go real well or it could go real bad.
That's exactly what you want. You speak about Geelong, how they've missed 1 finals. Like I played throughout my career, and I think I played 2 finals games. So there's not a lot of pressure throughout, which
well, not the ultimate stuff. You still have you want to pressure to compete and that sort of stuff, but we've got to win this to be top 2, or you've got to get this, you've got to win this prelim final to get through to a grand final.
And that's why they're paid the big bucks, the senior coaches.
You dethroning Brad Scott would be a headline.
Certainly not doing that.
Clip that up, actually.
Assistant, keep him on.
Well, I actually, when we were having a couple of beers just before he took the job, I was encouraging him. I said, how good would this be? You should do it. You should do it. Your fault.
And then give me the next 6 years, and I'll take that.
Good. I reckon it's a good place to be around. I reckon moving forward. You can't have these injuries again.
Yeah, you just build a list, Scotty, and I'll come in and steal all the glory.
No, I don't want that. Most certainly. Maybe I'll go as his assistant coach.
Yeah.
Do that.
Nice.
No, I'm going to Tassie. What am I talking about?
You focus on the stadium.
Right, yeah, we've got to get that done.
Boys, that's all we've got time for today. Thank you, Rocky.
Good on you, gents.
Thank you, Lynchy.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Ryan.
And
Thank
say
you,
the line.
Rich.
No.
Cheers, Rich.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website